Okay, there you go. I'm sorry. All right.
Good morning. The Wisconsin State Assembly just passed the special session bills. As you heard from my comments, I think that while some on the left and many in the media have tried to make this into some kind of a cause celeb, it's a simple reality that we are ensuring by passing these bills that when we negotiate over the course of the next 4 years, we have equal seats at the table. The governor, with one of the most powerful veto pens in the entire country, still has the upper hand in all of the negotiations that we will have. But I am excited at the idea that we will be able to sit down in January when he becomes the governor, talk about things that we can work on. We've already started those discussions in our caucus where we talked about different ideas where we thought we would be able to work together and find common ground. So my hope is that as we go through the holiday season, we continue to look for ways to be able to work together and find at the end of the day that that many of the things that the Democrats had brought up were nothing more than hyperbole and exaggeration.
Several Democrats are maybe seeking to take some legal action in maybe the next few days, maybe next few months. How do you feel about that after these proposals are passed, that might come next?
Well, we all know that we have 3 equal branches, so of course they have the right to go to court. We've already vetted these with legal experts that we believe have shown that they are clearly constitutional. So they have every right to go to court. I'll be anxious to see what the results are, but I'm very confident that these are constitutional.
You think these will hold up?
I do.
Many of them had already been passed by this body already. I mean, so yeah, I'm pretty confident that what we did today is just more codifying the efforts of this body over the last several years.
A lot of provisions affecting the Attorney General have been scaled back. Are you satisfied with that, especially as you look toward maintaining the relationship with Foxconn, et cetera?
Yeah, so we listened at the hearing. We had negotiations with the Senate. That's the whole process that we have in the legislature where it is give and take. It's negotiation. That's what we're hoping to be able to do with the executive, so it's a process we're used to. You don't always get everything you want. You don't always get every single idea. And the best part about the legislative process is people bring up really good ideas and we accept those. So you'll see that many of the proposals that either we heard testimony in, our members brought up, members of the state Senate brought up, were incorporated into the final product. So I think while we had good ideas in the beginning, I think the final product is even better than what we proposed.
You changed the reading board temporarily to give Republicans a majority, and then it goes to an equal basis in September. Why do you have that interim period where the board is structured differently and then it changes?
Sure, so that's a prime example where I am trying to accept Governor Evers at face value. So while he has said that he does not believe in public-private partnerships and has concerns about WEDC, I think it is so valuable, so important, and done such a good job that I'd like to have Mark Hogan or whoever would follow in his place be able to take the first 9 months. We'll go through the budget, we'll have plenty of discussions, and showcase all the great things that WEDC has done that perhaps he didn't have knowledge of. So at the end of the day, after those 9 months, we'll go to an even board where we'll be able to have both sides, like we want, sit at the table and negotiate so he can't shut it down with a pen stroke, and we won't be able to do economic development without him. We want a partnership. That's what this entire process is about.
Well, and given that time, I think as Governor Evers goes forward over the course of the first 9 months of his term, he'll learn a lot of the same things that we did back in our districts. I mean, we ran the reports. Every single district in this state has benefited from the WEDC and the work that they've done. So it's extremely important. I think Governor Evers will realize that.
I look at it as a continuity issue. I mean, there's contracts that are being negotiated as we speak that could be in jeopardy if we don't provide some continuity for WEDC over the first few months of 2019. So, we don't want economic development to stop on January 7th just because Tony Evers is the governor. So I think that continuity is very important.
Is giving back Evers a power to appoint the secretary at September 1st, is that like acknowledging going too far with the first draft, or why give it back to him after being the board for 9 months?
No, because, and this is what's so frustrating to me, that while many in the media have really tried to make this into some kind of a power grab, that is absolutely not what it is. We have tried very hard to make sure that we are trying to level the playing field. So the only area where we really looked and said we've got to figure out a different answer was basically WEDC, because Governor-elect Evers made the promise that he was going to dismantle it. Well, it's kind of hard to have a negotiation if somebody's already said we're going to get rid of it. But as we sat down, we talked about it, we thought about trying to be open-minded and actually help Governor Evers learn that WEDC is a great institution. We thought that's the best way to do it, that let him choose the next CEO, let him have an opportunity to have an equal number at the board, so he'll fundamentally have at least marginal control of WEDC. We don't want to usurp his power. That's never been our goal. Our goal is just to guarantee that we have an opportunity to sit at the table, negotiate, and do it fairly. So I really wish he had taken the time to do more outreach. It was a lot through the media. I never got a call. We never talked about it. I don't know if either one of you did. So it was an awful lot of negotiation through the Journal-Sentinel, kind of the arm of the Democratic Party. I mean, so that's really the problem that we had, that we really couldn't get a fair hearing in many ways. That's a problem.
So you say you wanted to pick the next secretary. So does that mean that you expect your appointees and Fitzgerald's to keep Hogan as the secretary for the next 9 months?
I am not going to speak for Secretary Hogan. I do not know.
Do you expect your appointees to keep him as the secretary?
Well, we'd like to talk about that. First of all, I hope he would stay. I think he's done an excellent job, but I can't speak for him. I don't know if he wants to stay. I don't know if he has other plans. So I certainly would be open to having him stay because I think he's done an excellent job. But I would also like to make sure that we have that continuity that a lot of projects, I mean, of course, Foxconn, I think you asked a question. Foxconn is incredibly important to me. Obviously, it's incredibly important to Wisconsin. Governor-elect Evers, from what I have heard, has said he wants Foxconn to stay. So I think we're all agreed on that too. So making sure that we have a good team at WEDC to finish what we've started, which we know is successful, is going to be good for all of us.
You talked about how important it was to you to pass the pre-existing conditions legislation and the Kimberly-Clark bill. Can you comment a little bit about those not making it through the Senate and what, if any, path forward there is for those in the next session?
Well, on pre-existing conditions, because that's something that I said was my most important priority, obviously I'm deeply disappointed. We have spent a lot of time negotiating with the state Senate. That's part of the reason we had some of the delays, was to try to find a way to get to yes on pre-existing conditions. Our chamber passed it a long time ago. I have a feeling that that will be either AB1 or darn close to it in the next session, because we believe in this proposal. We believe it's a good idea. So I have no doubt we're going to keep pushing on pre-existing conditions, and I'm disappointed it didn't happen.
And regarding, I talked to, right after the vote came through, I went and talked to Senator-elect Andre Jacques. No Democrats voted for it in the state Senate. We're sending 3 of our members over to be state senators, and I went to him because he'll be assuming a position that's currently held by a Democrat. So that vote could make the difference between that becoming law or not. And I think you heard his comments on the floor that he hoped to be the deciding vote on that in the Senate come 2019. So I think that's great news.
Well, and when it comes to Kimberly-Clark, as the author of the bill in the Assembly, of course, I was extremely disappointed that didn't become law over in the, or didn't get passed in the Senate, so it could become law. Governor Walker, worked extremely hard over the course of the last few months to get that across the finish line. I'm afraid politics played a role. I was hoping once we got past the politics of the election that there would be more support for it. Obviously, that we couldn't garner any support from the Democrats. I was really disappointed that Governor-elect Evers didn't step forward and take this opportunity to show some leadership and at least give his opinion one way or another whether he thought it was a good idea. That's something I hope that he'll learn over time, that his voice is extremely important in matters like this. And I hope as we get into the new year that when we are struggling with issues like this, that he'll utilize that as a place where he can show some leadership.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Okay, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, guys.